Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, I wanted to take this time to talk about Dmitry Bivol because Dmitry Bivol is going to be the subject of a lot of videos, not just on this channel, but a lot of channels because he's got the biggest fight of his career coming up with a massive name in the sport in Canelo Alvarez. And in this video, I wanted to speak about some of the things that make Dmitry Bivol a really great fighter. I wanted to speak about some of the things that maybe people don't talk about when it comes to Bivol, and kind of try to get my perspective and my interpretation of his style, because I've been hearing a lot of people who don't really know a lot about the actual art of fighting in the sweet science of boxing talk about his style. And I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions with the Bivol style, you know. So let's get into it, man. So George Foreman, one of the great fighters in history, he had one of the best quotes ever when he said that, I quote, "Boxing is like jazz. The better you do it, the less people appreciate it." And it's so true, because there's so many great fighters in the sport today who don't get the credit they deserve. Maybe because they don't have that style that, you know, Joe Blow on the street will appreciate. But to the trained eye, to someone who knows what they're watching, they know that this guy is high level. They know he's great, and they appreciate the style. They appreciate what he can do in the ring, you know. And that applies to Bivol. When Bivol was a young fighter, when he was you know, coming up, I remember very clearly when Pernell Whitaker was still alive. Pernell Whitaker came out and said that Dmitry Bivol is the kind of fighter that has all the skills to go to the top and become the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in boxing. No small praise from a all-time great in the sport in Pernell Whitaker. R.I.P. Sweet Pea, you know. And he's gonna get his chance against Canelo. Now, as far as for me, because people have been asking me, like, BT, who do you think is a better fighter between Bivol and Caleb Plant? Because some people are saying that Bivol and Caleb Plant are similar. There's not much of a difference between Bivol and Caleb Plant. And I gotta be honest, man. Bivol is a better fighter than Caleb Plant. I'm not even gonna sit here and try to, like, I like Caleb Plant. You guys know how much I was hyping up Caleb Plant the last Canelo fight, but Caleb Plant's a good fighter. I think Caleb Plant will still do great things in his career, maybe and potentially even be champion again. I think he's that good. But I just think there's some, when you get to that high level of boxing, there's the difference is the minor things. And there's just there's a couple of things that Bivol does better than not just Caleb Plant, but a lot of recent Canelo opponents that I think people aren't talking about. So first and foremost, Bivol, in my opinion, when we talk about distance control, managing the distance in which the fighters fought at, I can't really think of too many fighters, if any, in the sport today that are better than him. You know, I'd be hard-pressed to find any, really. Bivol, you know, a lot of people say Bivol has the Eastern European style, which is only partially true. He has elements of the Eastern European style, but to me, when I look at Bivol, I see a guy that's taken the fundamentals and the well-schooled boxing technique of the Eastern European amateur system. I've seen him take that along with some of the herky-jerk movements of the American style. You know, he kind of put it in a little blender, and he put it together, and he's become who he's become. So I think Bivol has a good blend of Eastern European fundamentals along with American movements and feints and things like that. So these things make Bivol very dangerous, because it makes him hard to beat, because he's able to control range. Because the thing is, right, he has those herky-jerky movements that allow him to feint and freeze his opponents and break their rhythm, but then he has the fundamentals to throw those straight punches and get his punches from point A to point B quicker than his opponents. So these things make him very dangerous, Bivol. A lot of people criticize Bivol and they say he doesn't have a lot of power, and I think that's a misconception. I think Bivol has mastered the art of boxing as far as the technical, the sweet science of boxing, to where, like, he's not really going in there trying to knock you out. He truthfully is a boxer puncher in the truest sense of the word. The term boxer puncher gets thrown out there so freely and so loosely. But this guy is a boxer puncher in the purest sense of the word. A boxer puncher in its purest form is someone who has elite boxing skills. Their objective is to outbox you, but they have the power to go along with it. And should the knockout come, they will take their chance to get you out of there. Bivol doesn't box you to knock you out. Bivol, he stays fundamentally sound. He tries to break your rhythm, and that's what he does. He tries to break your rhythm, and if he hits you with a shot that hurts you and he can get you out of that, then he takes it. But if not, then he gonna stay on this shit. He gonna, jab you up the middle and feint you and break your rhythm and box you to a 12-round decision. And truthfully, if you look at what he's done his last 7 fights, he stopped Barrera in 2018, Sullivan Barrera. And since then, he's just been UDing everybody. And none of these fights have been close, though. The only guy that kind of made it tough on him was Craig Richards, but a lot of that comes down to just the size of Craig Richards and how long he is. He's one of the longest light heavyweights in the division. There's not many fighters in the boxing who are as long and as big as Craig Richards, So that wasn't an easy fight for Bivol. He had to kind of be patient and wait, and because he had to do that, he maybe gave away more rounds than he was accustomed to, and on top of that, he wasn't, active. So that played a bit of a role as well. But Bivol does have power. You can't just run up on Bivol. So if you think Canelo's just going to run up on Bivol, you got another thing coming. And then people say, like, Bivol doesn't have a lot of power, or he doesn't go to the body, right? That's been another knock that I've heard people say about Bivol. He doesn't punch the body. And that's just not true. Now, Bivol does to go to the body if you're good enough to make him go to the body, or if you have that style that forces him to go to the body. And in recent times, like against guys like Craig Richards, Umar Salamov, and even Joe Smith Jr., he's been beating these guys so easily from the outside, breaking their rhythm, controlling them with just his left hand. He hasn't had to go to the body. But if you go back and you watch when he fought Jean Pascal, a guy that, is very experienced, been world champion, strong, stocky, very aggressive, an aggressive counterpuncher at times. He was a guy where when he crowded Bivol was going to that body because he knew in order to win that fight, he had to slow him down. So people keep looking at the recent performances of Bivol, like against Joe Smith Jr., Craig Richards, Umar Salamov, and they're using that as a basis as to say why he doesn't have a chance against Canelo. What I'm telling you guys is that Bivol is not going to show up this fight. It's going to be more of like what you saw in the Pascal fight. You see what I'm saying? So Bivol is very athletic. He's not in the business of wasting movement. The guy has a great right hand. I mean, a steak knife sharp, straight right hand. And as much as I love Caleb Plant and as much as I wanted him to beat Canelo, that was the one thing that he was truly lacking going into that fight and during the fight was a steak knife sharp right hand to keep Canelo honest. Now Bivol is a bigger fighter than Caleb Plant. He's not as long as Caleb Plant. His reach is actually 2 inches shorter. Most people don't know that. Plant's like a 74. Bivol's pushing about like a 72. But the difference is that Bivol is a lot more educated with that lead hand, with the feints, with the probes, with just a lot of things he does with his left hand. So because of that, that really makes up for maybe the not being as long as Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant's a fighter who I like, but like I said, he relies more on athleticism, foot speed, reflexes, those type of things. And that's, in my opinion, that's what ultimately hurt him in the back half of the fight, because he got caught with a shot that he really should have caught. But, his over-reliance on athleticism was his ultimate undoing. And that comes from, I guess, experience, you could say. But Bivol is a tough fight for Canelo. And I'll be honest with you, even me, like, I know how good Bivol is, but even me, until I go back and I look at the tape of Bivol, you don't really understand how tough a fight this is for Canelo until you go back and you look at it. And, I'm one of Canelo's biggest critics. Like, I'm talking about, like, you guys have heard me say some mean, vile things about Canelo, talking about, because I really want to see him fight Demetrius Andrade. I feel some type of way about it, but you know what? I've said it many times before in the past, and I can't be a hypocrite now. I've always said, if he's not going to fight Demetrius Andrade, one of the fights that I want to see him in is Bivol. And lo and behold, he's fighting Bivol. So tip of the cap goes to Canelo, because this is one of those fights where, a lot of people think that he might have bit off more than he could chew, because you're getting a guy who's a full-fledged 175-pounder, a guy with one of the most educated jabs in the sport, who knows how to set it up. He's not going to be over-reliant on athletic ability. He knows who he is. He stays well-schooled. He stays fundamentally sound. He's got ways to set up all of his punches. He's got 2 or 3 different types of jabs. He's got 5 or 6 different combinations. He's fought guys of all kinds of styles. Even though he's only had 19 fights, Bivol, he's fought a lot of styles in those 19 fights. He's fought the long-rangey guys like Craig Richards. He's fought the swarmers like Joe Smith Jr. that are going to beat you up on your arms and things like that if you let him get close. He's fought the aggressive counter-punchers like Jean Pascal. He's fought a lot of styles, and I don't think Bivol gets the credit he deserves. And I think people are doing themselves a big disservice overlooking him and talking about other fights. I know there's a big segment of boxing fans that want to see Canelo fight Benavidez and Andrade and Charlo, and I'm in that bunch. I want to see Canelo fight Andrade. You guys know I'm banging the drum for that fight. But to sit here and shit on Bivol in the matchup that this is, I think people have done they're doing Bivol an injustice, and they're really doing themselves an injustice, because Dmitry Bivol, like I said, a lot of people don't know what they're watching. You know, there's this narrative about Eastern European fighters that they're this way and that way, but Bivol is not your prototypical Eastern European fighter. He is the blend of the Eastern European fundamental amateur style blended with the herky-jerky American-style movements, put into one with his own little boxing, flavor involved into it, and it's turned him into one of the most prolific practitioners of the speed science in the sport of boxing. And I just really think, you know what, this is a great chance for Bivol to really show his class to the world. This is a chance to fulfill the prophecy and the words of Pernod Whitaker all these years ago. And I think if you're overlooking him and you're thinking, he can't beat Canelo, you're going to be surprised come May 7th. I'm not saying, I don't have a prediction. Truthfully, I'm kind of favoring Canelo right now, but I'm not going to be shocked if Bivol pulls it off. This is truthfully, if we're talking about pure boxing skills, this is probably the guy that has the chance to give him the most problems. And I feel like we say this every fight. Even I said it last fight with Plant. But like I said, he has some things in this fight objectively. I'm not talking my feelings. I'm talking about objectively, going into the tape, watching him. He's got some things in this fight that Plant just didn't have, even though I want Plant to win. That right hand is going to be something that I think people have overlooked, and is going to be the key for him this fight. So yeah, that's my little synopsis on Bivol, like his style, what he brings to the ring, some of the things that make him the fighter that he is. He's also able to get out of. He's also able to get in and out of range really well. Like Bivol understands his range. When he gets in range, he's got great balance to where he can dart in and dart out very quickly. But he's not darting in and darting out so far back to where he's out of punching range. He can dart in and dart out and still be at a good punching range and walk you into a shot. And not a lot of fighters have matched that little subtle art of fighting. So, that's my synopsis on Bivol. Stop hating on Bivol, people. Stop discrediting him just because you want to see him fight someone else. Like, mind you, I'm someone who wants to see Canelo fight Demetrius Andrade. He's ducking Demetrius Andrade, to be being honest. But, he's fighting probably a guy that's equally as dangerous, being honest. And I'm an Andrade fan. Some people say I'm a fanboy, but Bivol is a damn good fighter. And if people don't see it now, win, lose, or draw, come May 7th, they're going to see it later. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. Shout out to Bivol. Shout out to Canelo. Should be a good fight. Looking forward to it. Leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on True School Sports, the home of boxing. If you made it this far, do me a favor and do yourself a damn favor. Hit that subscribe button and surely you will not be disappointed. True School Sports bringing you the latest and greatest, the untouchable, boxing content, interviews, news videos, breakdowns, live fight reaction extravaganza. We've got a great community of people here, boxing fans all over the world, from America to the UK to Australia, and on and on and on. So join the empire today. Hit that subscribe button. Take care and God bless.